EDgun Leshiy presents a hunting advent calendar. 25 days, 25 videos. Day 19. Warning. If the video, title, and description went over your head, let me be really clear on what you're about to watch. This is a backyard hunting video, which helps keep the population of pests under control. The bonus? Some of these guys actually taste pretty dang good. If hunting and pest control offend you, don't watch. Simple. So with that behind us, let's get on with the video. Today we're going to dive into a staple here on the channel, tracer pellets, and the effect I refer to as pellet vision. Let's take a look back and start with the basics of the tools I use and the trial and error process of creating these tracer pellets. I'm a technology guy, and there's no shortage of it available to air gunners and other backyard warriors like me. I use my pest control duties as a homeowner to illustrate and share some of this tech throughout all the stories I share with you. The ATN X Sight 4K Pro is one of the main tools I leverage. It's basically the result of a couple scopes and a digital camera having a threesome. You get a day and a night scope with a pretty badass camera that records in 16:9, not that periscope stuff. It allows you to record up to 120 frames per second. In the context of slow motion pellet tracking, 120 is pretty much the minimum for smooth and clear footage. I really hope that they offer higher speeds, but I'm not sure honestly if it's possible with just a simple firmware update. Anyways, this isn't an ATN commercial, or even a review for that matter. You guys know how I feel about it based on the hours of footage on this channel. I wanted to explore how I could really kind of enhance the ability to track pellets in suboptimal lighting conditions. So tracking the pellet is an important data point in my opinion for tuning, and it helps ensure your gun is shooting accurately, which will result in quick and humane kills. But let's be honest, it's what a lot of you love to see, and it's what makes these hippies in the comments go absolutely mental. Painting the skirts of these pellets seemed like the easiest solution. So I used a fluorescent paint pen in this kind of orangish color, and then glow-in-the-dark glue in both green and hot pink. So let's roll up our sleeves here and do a little testing. The battle over which one will reign supreme is on. Which kind of reminds me of a movie.
You have the ring. And I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Now let's see how well you handle it. Oh, shit. No. Please, no, not that. Yes, that.
Let's start with the fluorescent paint pen first. Picking a color is really about contrast, and this color pretty much contrasts with anything, well, at least anything natural in your backyard or woods. A big plus for this application is it adds no weight to the pellet. Over the chronograph, it showed basically no change in velocity. Next is the glow-in-the-dark glue. The glue contracts when it dries, so I just filled it up to the top of the skirt and let it dry overnight to be sure. I hit them with the UV flashlight just before I loaded them into the mag of the Leyla. This particular color is the traditional green. I was curious on how it would show up during the day. The short answer is it shows up really well, but I think the pink color might be even better. Here's the pink glow-in-the-dark. Interesting observation was under the UV light, it clearly shows up pink, but once I turn that thing off, it glows just the same color as the other one. So, but during the day, it's still clearly pink, which contrasts really well. So here I'm gonna shoot the pink glow-in-the-dark one during the day. This is the winner for sure. Enough paper punching. Let's see how these perform on these little pests taking a break from wreaking havoc on my house and yard. For a little bite to eat at the local dining establishment, a table for one. These first few are with the glow-in-the-dark green paint. It totally works, but to be really effective, you need to hit it with a UV light just before you send it. This one showed up pretty well, and it was dead nuts where I put the crosshairs. I'm still not totally convinced that the green is worth the effort for daytime action. I get asked a lot why I don't use a 22 LR or something. So A, it's illegal to shoot in my backyard, but B, it's just not needed. So let me show you here. I shoot at the lower end of the effective foot-pounds for these guys. Almost 100% of the energy is dumped into them. So check out the redirection of the pellet as it exited this one. It was lights out and an absolutely devastating shot. Alright, so here's the last one with the green glow-in-the-dark paint. Similar to the others, it works great, but I'm left a bit underwhelmed as its effectiveness to track any better than a normal pellet. In the context of humane pest control though, it's business as usual. This was lights out, and the EDgun Leshiy shooting 25 grain JSP Kings do the job. This video is more about creating effective tracer pellets though, so onward we go with our testing. Okay, so that session had some pretty decent footage, but the biggest issue I see with the glow-in-the-dark glue is the need for the UV light to charge it. The single shot of the Leshiy made this a lot easier, but it's still kind of a pain in the ass. So on a whim, I decided to do both the glue and the pen. So I simply let the glue dry, and it created that little hole as it contracted, and then I added a drop from the paint pen right into it. Wow, is all I can say. I'll let this next clip do all the talking. This was a 25 grain JSP King out of the EDgun Leshiy. Halfway through this little experiment, I was ready to call it and just say that this thing's kind of gimmicky. But this hybrid version erased all of those thoughts. It ticks every box for me, and I will definitely be making up a 10 of these for future videos. When I started concentrating on the new table for one, I noticed the colors were not as effective against this green background, which is weird because it was green bushes over there too. But I was watching a baseball game one night and thought to myself, hey, this green on white seems to work for the MLB with the batter's eye. That surely could work for me. So this hard enamel kind of nail polish from Sally Hansen, I'll throw a link to it in the description. It dries up super fast and it's like rock hard. It was way easier to apply, and I even have shaky hands, and you can see that. But other than that, it was pretty simple, and this stuff just worked great. The only issue is when the snow starts to fly. Obviously, white on white, and you saw that a little bit in the Nasty 9. So I might revert back with the same stuff though, this nail polish, to like a hot pink or maybe even an orange. So keep an eye out for that. Let's watch a few and see how the white looks. The last piece of the puzzle is editing. So I use an app on the iPhone called Video Leap. I'll throw a link to that in the description as well. It's incredible. I moved from Final Cut Pro on my Mac to doing this channel 100% from my iPhone. So I'm going to show you how I edit and make pellet vision effect. So let's go check it out. On the screen here, you're seeing a raw version of the last clip you just saw. So the first thing I'm going to do is split the clip right at the point where I fire the Leshiy. I do this so that I can control the speed of the pellet flying in the air and kind of isolate it from the rest of the clip so that you're not watching like a 5-minute clip in super slow-mo. Next, I'm going to add the reticle in, and when you're filming with the ATN 4K in 120 frames per second, it removes all the on-screen elements you see through the scope. I actually love this. So, as it allows me to just add and remove the reticle, which gets it out of the way so it's not kind of in your way when you're watching the pellet fly. Once I have it sized how I want, I like to blur out everything else besides the focal point, in this particular case, the squirrel. Sometimes you'll see me edit in different effects like vignetting and stuff that I'll time to the music, but for the most part, I just do this simple blur. The final step is to create the pellet vision effect. The idea is to have an effect of moving towards the target while zooming in. So this creates that kind of follow feel, like there's a camera on the pellet. So this is done using 2 keyframes that you'll see on the screen represented as red diamonds. The first represents the starting point, in this case right when it fires, and then the second at impact. I simply zoom in where I want it on that second keyframe, and then the program will automatically zoom from the starting point to what you defined using the start and stop of those 2 red diamonds, those 2 keyframes. So that's it, that's pellet vision. Thanks for watching today's video as part of the EDgun Leshiy Advent Calendar series. 25 days, 25 videos. A daily dose of the best of from 2019. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a day, and check out the link in the description for Club Leshiy. Here's today's highlighted deal of the day. You can find more info and a link to check it out within the description below. See you guys in the next one. Backyard hunting helps keep the population of potential pest animals under control. The bonus? Some of these guys taste pretty dang good. So here's one of my all-time favorite squirrel recipes. Press pause to get the full details.